running to the beat of his own drum.
Yep, certainly is. Well, these are our team comps for game number 1. Immortals C9 would have been a huge matchup last summer. It's going to be pretty good moving into spring. Immortals, of course, still some growing pains for the young squad. Cloud9 on fire at 2-0 and looking to extend that even further this week.
Exactly, especially with the 2-0 against the opponents they played last week.
Not bad.
The defending champs TSM, they dominated in the first game. And then they had that solid series against Team Dignitas, going to try and keep it rolling.
Well, see what happens here as we move out onto Summoner's Rift for the first time here in the Battle Arena on this fine Saturday. Immortals going to be looking to get themselves yet another win on the board. Cloud9 looking to keep the very small streak alive. But Cloud9, if they feel like they're the strongest team coming in right now and they've had their preparation early, ride the momentum for as long as you can, because it does not get easier as the season gets later.
Yeah, and also just really quickly pointing out, both of the bot lane marksmen have opted for the longsword and 3 potion start. This is something that really has just started to appear in the last week in a lot of competitive regions. Korea was doing it right before they took the break for the Lunar New Year. So this is... I have a few theories on why this could be the case. Previously, when you're going Doran's Blade, a lot of the benefits of Doran's Blade are the extra health, which you need in situations of being all in. Because last year, there were a ton of melee supports. Not to mention, if you're going to go a lethality build anyway, it's a fairly smooth transition because you can get to your serrated jerk much faster. And then if you're just thinking about total health in the lane, the marginal increase in lifesteal you gain from the Doran's Blade does not match the amount of health you can get from the potions. Is it optimal? I'm actually not sure yet. It's definitely a trend, and these are potentially the reasons, because you can sustain more in lane, but you're weaker to all in. So really look forward for a Thresh Hook hitting on a Sneaky to see if he gets burst down.
And like you said, it makes sense with more of the major and poke supports, but we'll see if it continues. Keystone Mastery Sit, nothing too exciting. And we'll have a look where these junglers are starting. Dardoch on the blue buff with a bit of help there from Flame, and Contracts also getting help from his top laner Impact. So Dardoch and Contracts, certainly 2 players to watch in a 1v1 here in the early stages of the game. We'll see where they end up, because they're starting on that same side. And Smoothie already eating a bit of poke early on.
Yeah, absolutely. That bottom lane river control is going to be pretty important. And I do feel like when you're taking Thresh like this, you are looking to gank that lane a little bit more frequently, because he's not going to win the poke matchup against a Karma. So it's pretty tricky to get a foothold in that lane to even prep it for ganks. And the early lane going to Cloud9 as expected.
Yep, you can see that there. Smoothie just knows that, okay, your play's gone. I can now continue to harass you and abuse my range advantage, so does that. Then they'll hit level 2 nice and quickly. You can already see Smoothie and Sneaky teaming up to auto down these creeps, and Ole and Cody's son know they're going to play back here and not overextend to a potential gank, or even a 2v2 all in. Yeah. I think Cody's son needs that.
Sneaky was one of the first Jins, still one of the best Jins. So look for some early punish in the laning phase here.
You can see the C9 fans out there in the crowd today as well, but certainly also out there in the fan vote. I mean, always been a popular team. Certainly, like we said, the Cloud9 fans will be happy. This Flame and Impacts, this is always a fun one. Looks like Flame is technically winning the lane right now as he's got it pushed up, but we'll check back in about 20 minutes when they teleport down the bottom lane.
Definitely some of the most well-known top laners of all time here. Think back to the early days of Korean League of Legends, Impact and Flame. But it's been a while since they've really been able to play each other, so interested to see how this lane goes. Impact, much more NA/LCS experience, much more used to being on a team of English speakers in NA, so Impact definitely showing more comfort in the overall role than Flame.
Certainly agree. See Sneaky and Smoothie still back and forth, but Cody's son's done a nice job getting his CS back in there with a bit of help from Ole. Junglers have been quiet as well. There's a lot of farming happening right now. Contracts and Dardoch keeping up as far as the levels go. Dardoch gonna kind of dip his head up here towards the top lane, but probably just a bit of scouting. Maybe some counter jungling. He's going to run into Contracts potentially as well. Well, the Contracts actually going the long way around. There's the Blast Cone gone. Contracts.
Yeah, he didn't realize the Blast Cone is gone, and now he's spotted. So this is pretty free for Dardoch to be able to steal these things. He's got to be careful not to burn all his cooldowns and get ran into by Lee Sin. He'll know now. That's the ping.
Yep.
If they collapsed on Dardoch right now, he'd be in trouble. He didn't see that Sonic Wave go over the wall.
Oh, and there's the Crow going down. He takes the big one as well, so a good amount taken away. Contract's going to have to waste time taking these as well. Dardoch just waiting to try and do some damage. Now he's back in. He wants to steal them again. Thunderlord's procs. There's damage onto Contracts, and he's forced out again.
Yeah, one of the reasons you're seeing Kazakhs see play over Lee Sin is those early game duels. Normally no one can stand with Lee Sin, but Kazakhs can very easily.
Kazakhs certainly can in a 1v1. Jensen, though, ghosting in out of Pobelta. Flash is still here. Jensen
Go
actually...
flash for flash.
Just gonna, burn a flash there. Actually forced it away, but Dardoch's down here as well. Brent Boss ready. Jensen has his flash, but doesn't need to burn it. Very cool under pressure.
Yeah, beautifully played by Jensen right there. Pobelter almost expecting Jensen to go for a flash QW and then turn it, but Jensen doesn't go over aggressive. Still had the threat of his flash and doesn't even have to burn it once Dardoch arrives. So he got the counter pick, so to speak. Orianna into Cassiopeia. Still very much a skill matchup, but Orianna can be favored, and Jensen's showing you why here.
And you can see the basics of why it is a problem. We didn't see the early lane play out, but there's so much threat with Orianna at range where Cassio does have to get really up against it in the mid to short ranges to deal damage to you. So Jensen, he knows that. He's going to abuse it, but Pobelter just burns his summoners, doesn't go down. Control word, refillable, and Tear of the Goddess is a nice start for him as well.
Yeah, the build path that Pobelter is able to get on his first back, like you say, is pretty smooth. We'll see what Jensen decides to come back to lane with. He should have enough gold for a Lost Chapter and boots, plus a control ward if he wants it, which would be the expected build path early.
You're a genius.
Oh, he didn't get the control ward. Health potion.
It's not about vision, Jat. It's about winning the lane.
Somewhat. It depends where your priorities are early. Well, extra health potion instead of the control ward, man.
Bit of Jensen's tendencies perhaps as Dardoch back in top lane looking for impact. Good flash there, but the slow should come in. Claws land in. There's the slow and impact. Just eating so much damage. Dardoch wants to flash.
Oh, he doesn't get
the slow. That's awfully awkward.
Yeah, it really is. You have to know if you're Flame what your flash ranges are and whether or not you can catch him with the E. Doesn't get him there, basically burns his flash instead of having it for a later game.
Oh, Smoothie's here. Moves the blast cone. Good Lantern though.
Ooh. That was close. If Smoothie would have waited a little bit on his auto attack, he actually blasts Pobelter into Lee Sin, and he has no summoners. But because the blast cone missed, Pobelter can just waltz onto that Dark Passage, and he narrowly avoids getting first blooded there.
Contrax is actually sticking around here as well, but Dardoch's back in top lane. Impact now going to get ulti. Dardoch back in on top of it. Impact ultimate. Probably not enough for this. Q does get the double knockback. Going to get towards his creep wave, but that is enough.
Contrax did get chunked out a little bit. I believe Pobelter may have saw him and was unable to have a gank followed up on by Jensen. But imagine if Flame actually did have flash for that follow-up. There's a chance he would have been able to block Impact. But again, Impact absorbs a gank and now getting potentially pushed off the turret. Dardoch spending so much time up here with Flame.
I mean, Flame's even pulling this creep wave early on. This is a...
He doesn't want to let him get to turret.
Nope, he's going to go and get there. Impact's like, all right, I'll fight you off and go back to the creep. Collect what I can. Dardoch's like, instead, I'll take away this red buff. And he's just set up camp, really, in this top half of the map. And Contrax is bringing Smoothie with him now. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good thing because Kha'Zix, especially when it's level 5 versus level 5, can win if he gets the jump on you in an isolated situation. Dardoch knew it was a safe invade as well because Contrax had been chunked out in Immortals' red side of the jungle. So fairly competitive game thus far.
Nice bit of efficiency from Dardoch here. Knows that blue's coming back up, so is there in time to donate it over to Pobelter? Sneaky, looks like he's gone back. It is that early serrated Zerk actually for both of them. A Sneaky, great flash, predicting the flay there.
And that is the cost of Smoothie following Contrax into the jungle. Smoothie is a very good roamer on supports, and that goes hand in hand with how well your AD carry can play alone. So Sneaky knew that he had to flash if Immortals goes aggressive. Immortals goes aggressive and he loses flash. Smoothie's now back in there.
Yep, so it should be okay. CS certainly looking good there. Also have a Tear of the Goddess for Cody's son, so much more of that almost mid-lane Varus build that we used to see. Lots of lethality early on and extra mana for more of that poke.
Yeah, it's really funny to me how everyone was doing Essence Reaver last week, and now everyone has switched back to the serrated Dirk. You can make all your theories on this that you want, but one thing that I saw yesterday, at least in the play patterns of the teams, compared to week 1, is week 1, everyone just smacked the tanks over and over again, and they weren't dying. Those tanks were way too tanky because these utility-focused AD carries, like, they don't even scale amazingly into tank killing later in the game anyway. So what seems to have happened is they've just gone for the snipers with lethality and just tried to shoot past the tank. We saw so many fights where it was just the tanks and everyone else dead because people were actually just trying to ignore them in fights. And the lethality builds almost encourage that playstyle more so, because once the tanks build 200 armor, that extra 25 penetration does effectively nothing against tanks, but is great against squishes.
Dardoch again, flashing there for the auto, and the slow Pobelter looking to get it down. Jensen has his flash, good double ulti, gonna miss from Pobelter on the other end, and Contract trying to turn it around. Jensen does not, Contract, he's not gonna flash flood, kicks Dardoch into the
boy, that was close. Jensen does fall, but the first blood, as we noticed, did go over to Contracts as well as the double kill. So advantage Cloud9 with Contracts coming up and finishing the work that Jensen started. Landing that double shockwave by Jensen was huge, and Contracts collapse was great, but it was a little late. Immortals was first to the party. Cloud9 definitely, though, fashionably late.
Yes, let's watch this one again. Dardoch starts it off correctly here.
Yep, and he gets the isolated Q as well, so trouble for Jensen, but he kites away, doesn't turn back for the ult on a Pobelter, and then look at how close that was for first blood. They died within milliseconds of each other, but beautiful. Finding the angle that Contrast could get on that kick, since he was right up against the wall, flashing seemingly just a few inches, but gets the kick into the turret. Really impressive.
Yep, nice mechanical play there from Contracts, maybe making up for the fact that he was, I think, a little late to that situation. But 2 kills on the board now for Cloud9.
Late still works.
Yep,
He's much cooler for it.
Certainly is.
Kill.
They'll take the 1,500 gold lead as well. And Jensen's gone back with Sork Shoots, which is, I think, a lovely purchase, given how much attention he's been getting already.
Yeah, and this is part of why we're seeing the Orianna resurgence. The Sorcerer Shoes, Morellonomicon, Luden's Echo build gives you very heavy burst in the mid-game.
Oh, Pobelter kickback again. Nice Warthog. That was so clean.
And he made that look
too easy.
Really, really easy. Just when you land that first Q on Lee Sin, it can be devastating. And all the counter jungling Dardoch did early on in the game hasn't seemed to help now that Contracts has hit Warrior before him thanks to that double kill and executed his first gank post-Warrior.
And it's always been one of the troubles with Cassiopeia. When she doesn't have summoners up, she's a pretty juicy-looking gank target. And Contract's going to abuse that fact here.
Yeah, I mean, Pobelter thinking he's cheating that side of the wave, but the minions have been drawn over. He gets a little greedy. He doesn't miasma in the right spot, so Contract's still able to get his ward jump over. So I'd say a slight misplay by Pobelter, but that wasn't just Contracts setting that up in the side rush. That was Jensen pulling the minions to the side of the lane where they had control ward coverage. So really making it difficult for Pobelter to get farm and then punishing him for trying to do so.
And that's manifested heavily in the CS lead that Jensen has. He's 40 CS ahead almost.
That's huge.
In this mid lane. Now with the Morellonomicon. Sneaky rooted up in the bottom lane. Dardoch looking for a kill. That's a play back in, and Dardoch, easy pick up there.
Yeah, and that's the answer that Immortals has to give when the mid lane gets ganked. Dardoch feels compelled to answer, and they're successfully able to just quickly burst down Sneaky, but Contracts here for an answer as well. Hoping that they're looking to bounce the wave off the turret, but he doesn't give away his position just yet because he doesn't see it.
Smoothie going to hold that down for now. We'll see just how much damage Jensen can get done. I mean, 1v1, he's snowballing very far out of control, but if he can maybe get to some other lanes here, this is such a great early power spike for mid laners that Jensen knows that, especially once he hits level 11 and gets his second rank in ulti, he's ready to go.
Yeah, not to mention the level advantage he has on Pobelter, which is just lowering the base health pool, which is actually one of the biggest ways you derive power as champions early on in the game. We talk all about gold leads, but one level is 500 to 700 golds of stats for most champions.
Impact from Flame and Dardoch now as the ulti comes out from Nautilus. Impact throws a sapling, has Contracts behind him, so Immortals will quickly pull away from that gank.
Yeah. You also have to track time spent versus effectiveness for junglers, and based on the time Dardoch has spent top, the effectiveness has been very low.
Certainly so, as Impact bagels in the KDA columns right now. Just happily farming up, actually as the CS lead as well.
Exactly.
Which is always nice.
You compare how much Dardoch's been up there, it's felt like he's lived up there for most of the game. Hasn't made a lick of difference. Impact's still winning it, so it's one of the things that makes C9 so scary.
Stuff like this as well. Good force there from C9, knowing that, hey, 2v2, you guys can't really beat us, and you're probably not coming to contest this blue, so we'll go ahead and take it for ourselves. Contract also got some vision down in the area, and Jensen, you can see, just putting the ball as close to Pobelter as he can get it. He doesn't care about pushing the wave in, he just wants to deny as long as possible, and this has always been a trademark of Jensen's play.
Yeah, very good at running away with leads. 40 CS, already has his magic penetration, big item power spikes, whereas Pobelter's still kind of waiting for his. Now we're going to get to see a dive. It's tough to dive a Nautilus.
Well, let's see what they can do. Flame, no ulti, maybe no hope. Contract still doing it, but the card to the Colossus kicks in. Flame, though, does go down. They had more than enough there.
And that's the efficiency right there. First time Contracts flies up there, instant tower dive kill. It is hard to dive a Nautilus, but Spectre's Cal, whereas Contracts is doing a bunch of damage at this stage of the game. Dardoch trying to answer on the other side of the map.
Steals the blue buff and gives it to himself, so Pobelter still has the issue of having no blue. And look at the mid lane turret. That is an insane amount of damage that Jensen has done, almost effectively 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, C9 really starting to take over this game, and Contrax has been super impressive. Both summoners up for Pobelter, though, as Contrax is thinking about a dive. This would be a dangerous one, but they've been pulling everything off so
They need
far.
Jensen to go in. Pobelter does get moved back in. Now flashes out of the way, but Contrax chases in. Thunderlord's almost enough as Dardoch trying to chase it down. Jensen takes tower aggro. There's a kill for Dardoch. Jensen now kiting away. Dardoch invisible, but the one auto's there. There's another one from Jensen, and now Ole's trying to take him down, but Jensen does have his flash and doesn't even need it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the potential danger of that gank where Contrax didn't land his Q and also didn't have an ultimate, but because of Jensen's lead, even after Dardoch arrives, they are able to pick up.
Ooh!
Whoa!
Almost follows him all the way. Good positioning from Ole to get out from under the Jin cone, but turret there going over to C9. Jensen takes the mid lane turret. They just took the top lane turret after the gank as well, and all of a sudden this gold lead's massive.
Exactly, and watching this gank one more time, Contrax doesn't assist all that much. Couple auto attacks and an E. Red buff can't quite take him out, but Contrax did take the turret aggro for quite some time. Jensen, though, making sure he's getting the damage in. The shimmer of Dardoch as well, since he dealt damage during invisibility, let him know where it was going to be, landed the Q after the fact, and then also stopped the Thresh from coming in.
Yeah, Ole did not want to chase the fed Orianna into the darkness, so smart pull out there from the Thresh, but 2-1 and 2 there for Jensen. He's building into that Leandris, which has been the most common mid lane item, I feel like, for a lot of different players. Just so efficient. We talked about lethality for 80 carries. Feels very similar for the AP mages as well.
It's very true. I mentioned the Luden's build, but the Leandris build is also something that's pretty popular. It gives you very close to the amount of burst, but can also help you chip away at some of the tanks earlier on in the game. Math-wise, it is honestly very heavily preferential. Luden's gives you move speed. Leandris gives you health.
Dardoch trying something around there, but C9 are going to keep a lockdown on this bottom half of the map. Sneaky pushing things in. Looks like Ghost Blades are actually done for both marksmen, so some good early power there. And it feels like this Mountain Drake is up for grabs. It's kind of late into the game, but C9 know that that's probably the next place they should be moving into.
Yeah, and look at the way C9's taken over the map. They've already out-pressured both of the solo lanes, so they are just mobbing now down towards the Drake area, getting control of Mountain Drake and pressuring that bottom turret. Very difficult for Immortals to find their way back into this game based on the deficits they see in the solo lanes.
And they will know because there's a ward in the back, which is nice from them. In fact, Sneaky forced to flash a Varus Chain of Corruption. Looks for another lockdown. Think he got it. There's the ulti looking to chase down Ole. Cody's son, though, is the target. Impact's going to lock him down. Late TP from Flame, and Impact's going to get one. Jensen now on a killing spree.
Couldn't quite get that Lantern as Impact was just bouncing him around with his Maokai spells there. And that's the mob we're talking about. The solo laners from Immortals just can't answer. They're still trying to push their lanes out. Meanwhile, C9's had 5 people bottom for about 15 seconds.
Yep, and they take that bottom out of turret. They'll move in towards the Mountain Drake and take that as well. Jensen's even going to go the long way around back to mid lane, start clearing those out, and Impact should make it back to top as well. So no harm really done. And Immortals just scrambling for a pick, but Ole not going to get contracts either.
Yeah, Nautilus not exactly your fastest turret demolitionist up in the top side anyway. Not to mention his teleport already on cooldown there, so can't even orchestrate a play afterwards. This has been quite an early game display by Cloud9. And it's not like Immortals hasn't tried to answer back. Their answers just haven't worked.
Yeah, looks 5,000 gold and counting now for Cloud9 as far as the league goes. Dardoch, though, continuing to play aggressive. Good threat there for Cloud9.
Go.
He wants it. Blast Clone. Oh, that might have been the problem. Kicks him away from the lantern, but he still takes it. Hitbox barely there from the reach out to it. Now Flame chased down by Impact, but not sure that's going to be too much of an issue. And Impact, I think you want someone juicier in the backline. Jensen, though, looking to chase in with Smoothie and Contract behind him.
Still want the chase.
Looking for Flame. He's pretty tanky, though. They're going to try and do what they can as Cody's son fires away. Flame locked down forever, though. And Jensen on a rampage.
Man, hard life if you're Flame when you flash Dredge line to escape and the team has no problem following up to get the kill. They kill Flame, they're going for more.
Impact straight in onto Cody. So is that position. Jensen pops him. And they're going to look for mid-tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a continuation of Cloud9 in week 1, except they're looking even better. Everyone else is still in preseason form, but C9 just feel like they're clearly in mid-season form and beyond. They're so clean right now. Break it and hit before 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is done here, and they're going to go for the inhibitor as well. Why not? They know Immortals can't really fight them. Ultimate's still up almost across the board, and in less than 20 minutes, Cloud9 will start streaming supers into Immortals mid lane. Good play from Dardoch to salvage the Mountain Drake, but that's all he can do.
He wasn't able to withstand the barrage that C9 was thrown out in the mid lane, and Pobelter is going to try and pick up a turret on the back end of this, but that's the first turret against 5, which C9 has already been able to pull up. So the early game here from C9, very impressive. And we'll see how quickly they can close this one out.
And look, they'll be sad to not have that Mountain Drake. Oh, Pobelta's going to be sad as well. Picked up by Contract solo, perhaps? No, Sneaky comes in for kill credit.
Good guy Contracts, given the kill to his marksman, says, I've snowballed pretty hard on Lee Sin. I got my warrior first. After that, my power curve kind of levels out. Meanwhile, we got the AD. Let's give him some kills. Very smart to also get the assist pool there and allowing Sneaky to participate.
Clever stuff. And I think Cloud9, they probably did want the Mountain Drake that Dardoch stole away, but they had other things to do with the picks they got.
Yep, all shot calling in League of Legends is a series of trade-offs. And Middle and Hib, worth the 1 Mountain Drake to the team that's probably never going to touch a turret again.
Yep, and I mean, look, those aren't the trades that Immortals wanted, but then they're not good trades, but they have to take them, so they might as well. But it's an unbelievable lead from Cloud9, almost 7,000 gold ahead. Looking towards Baron very early because they're just that strong. I mean, 2 items for Sneaky, 2.5 for Jensen. Impact looks pretty unkillable at this point, especially for poor Cody's son, who's still chasing those items and doesn't do that much damage to tanks anyway with the build that he's going.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, compositionally, it's not terrible for Immortals in the case that they have the Cassiopeia to do sustained damage, and therefore they can have Cody's son go a more poke-focused build that looks to shoot through tanks while the Cassiopeia takes down the tanks. That's all well and good when you're not down 7,000 gold and unable to build your Void Staff before the Maokai can get 150 magic resistance on top of the shields offered from Orianna and Karma, which is why C9 is just in a really powerful position right now, hitting the item power spikes before Immortals can get the counters available.
And they've got their control, they know what to do, they're going to dance around this Baron. Dardoch going to peek his head in, instantly leaps away from Smoothie, who is looking to get the tether down. Impact down towards that bottom lane with the teleport ready to go, and C9 quickly rotating topside now. The wave is there to join them, and they'll get that pushing as well. So, I mean, it's pretty clinical from Cloud9 at this point. They're doing all the right things in Immortals. They just take what they can. Cody's son was top lane getting farm, books it as soon as he sees more than one Cloud9 member.
Exactly. Immortals was trying to get the mid lane turret pushed in, but if they would stay in that mid lane, they would easily lose probably a second inhibitor. They're maybe going to try and force a fight here, but they're just not in time. Immortals unable to keep up with what Cloud9 is putting at them.
Good dodge there from Ole. He doesn't get queued from Contracts, but Dardoch's very far forward here, and I think Contracts knows it. He's looking for a play, gets played back in. Might get 1v1s here. Dardoch actually going in, but kicks him through. Flame actually TP'd in, but Impact's now going to join as well. Hook onto Smoothie's not bad, but Jensen looking for that ulti. Jin going to open up as well as Contracts still on the right for a flank. Smoothie eating snipes there, but Impact looks so tanky as Pobelta eats the bullet there from Jin. Ulti Flame once again. He's going to get locked down, and they're just going to take what they can get here. Cloud9 looking for a kill. Get one. There's Cody's son on the other end of the ulti from Orianna. Cloud9, they've only got 1 kill, but that's kind of all they need.
Yeah, kind of a slow roll fight right there. I did like Flame's TP to kind of section off C9, and that's a type of play that would work if Immortals wasn't down 9,000 gold. Because they are, though, C9 can just kind of brute force their way through to this second inhibitor.
And the bad news is that Impact had the wave prep before making that teleport because they got the lead as far as map movement goes. So if they wanted to, they've got it prepped in bottom lane. They'll back away, though, spend their gold, and then look to end the game.
Yeah, very nice play right here overall. You can see Contract sees the play, but what stops the team from following up is the channel teleport from the Nautilus. They did not want to have Sneaky sitting next to a Nautilus, and then Dardoch doesn't quite want to finish chasing Contracts because then he wouldn't be there for when Impact teleports in, but you can kind of see the dire state of affairs as Pobelter is just trying to full combo Impact as much as possible and barely cuts through the shields. Then it's quickly healed up by the Sap Magic passive. Shockwave lands to finish the kill. Cody's son gets pulled in, burns the summoner spells right there. Not much more Immortals could do.
That looks just sneaky, though. We know he's good on these sniper-style champions. That was a pretty ridiculous series of Jin shots to get poor Pobelta down to almost death.
Yeah. I look forward to the day where we can track skill shot accuracy automatically in this game and then start comparing some of these elite players like Sneaky on Jin and how accurate they can really be.
Yeah, he'll certainly be up there. But Cloud9 doing the play they've set up already. We're going to take down this bottom tier 2. We've got 2 waves of supers streaming into the top and mid lane. Immortals having problems already in those sections, and it's only going to get worse. They're grouping up. They're going to try and find a pick here, but Cloud9 going to throw a sapling over, not even falling for that one.
Yeah, and look out for an Impact flash initiation into a Shockwave, especially on someone like Cody's son, who has no summoner spells available, because that would be an instant kill based on the current items for Cloud9.
Looks like Sneaky's actually getting the lane prepped in mid lane because the inhib respawn, so Cloud9 gonna go ahead and do their paperwork, I suppose. Make sure they get everything done out of the way. There is a Mountain Drake they can look at in about 40 seconds, but not sure we'll get that late, given that Cloud9 are looking to go for the throat right now.
Yep, just trying to cycle through, making sure they're keeping the inhibitors down. They always have the option of peeling back for Baron or a turret, but they've been pretty quick about taking their advantages. Question is just how safe do they want to be?
Sneaky a little low, so perhaps worried about the health pool. Cloud9,
Yep.
I think, maybe agreeing they'll go back and take the safe objective. Plenty of pressure already being dealt. Baron's still up if they feel like they need it. And Impact again. No one can really touch him 1v1. I mean, he's not going to kill people, but he's probably not going to die. He's managing to get that wave pushed in again, as Cloud9 is doing everything by the book right now.
Yeah, one of the tricky things about these builds that the 80s are going nowadays is Sneaky on Jhin with Deathfire Touch doesn't even have Warlord's Bloodlust. So when he gets poked, he has 2% lifesteal from Masteries. That's how he sustains. No one on that team can heal him either. So it takes a while, and you're probably going to have to recall when you do get poked down. Sometimes slows things down, but the payoff is you get more efficient damage.
Yep, they got the Drake for themselves. Immortals have a ton of problems streaming into their base. And Smoothie just making sure to clear these wards. I mean, Dardoch is being proactive. He's cleared the Scuttle Crowd, which is nice. So Cloud9 can't do Baron completely, unwittingly for Immortals. But realistically, is Dardoch going to be able to get out there and try and steal it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's trying shows good awareness from the player. Because Immortals, they know they're far behind. They're just doing whatever's presented to them. And again, it's not good, but it's something.
Exactly. It's hard to look good when you're already in a deficit like this. Of course, early on in the game, Dardoch would have liked to have more effectiveness with his ganks. This is a quick Baron rush. Immortals trying to pile in. If they would like to come back,
Look,
right here.
Land. They're actually going to turn back over onto someone.
Oh,
Looks like Ole's the
dear.
target. Pobelta, good two-man ulti, finds Smoothie for a bit of extra.
That's a good start for Immortals, though.
Flame again with a redemption for Smoothie. Does heal his team up. A contract trying to 1v1 Pobelta. Blastcon actually moves him out of the way, but Pobelta's going to die on the side here. Snipe there from Sneaky is not needed as Contracts get that kill. And Immortals committed everything, but that's not enough. Data clip back in as well after the lead. Jensen going godlike as Flame's getting a dove on by Impact. That should be 3 kills as the Lantern's just out of reach. And Cloud9 going to stream in and end it.
Yeah, Jensen does some damage, I think it's safe to say, with that build at this stage in the game. 2 inhibitors already down, 3 people dead. C9 knows they do not have to kill the Baron. It looked a little dicey at times, but they knew what they were doing. No casualties. Super minions in the base. C9 is going to take game 1.
Immortals make the play that they really could only make, but Cloud9 with such a clean-looking first game will shoot down the Nexus and improve their record. This team is looking absolutely red hot.
Yeah, and this isn't against an Immortals team who had another week practicing with their new support. So Cloud9 looking even better in game 1 than they did last week. Jensen in particular, 8-1-4, held that 40 CS advantage all the way from 10 minutes till the end of the game. Everything just seemed to be clicking, Pastry.
Certainly did. I mean, credit to Jensen. He's an incredible player. He's a particularly good laner when he's allowed to play the stuff he wants to play, but that's known information. Contracts really started